Good evening, everyone. I'm very happy to be here today, and I'll be your moderator for the panel on Voices Against Racism in the Community. Since 1966, March 21st has been recognized by the United Nations as the International Day for the Elimination of Racial Discrimination. I am proud to say that through our efforts and through Peace One Day, we have informed a large number of people about the Anti-Racism Day on 21st March to inform, inspire, and engage people on fighting racism globally. We have an amazing panel with us today, and together we will explore the lived experiences of people of color and minority ethnic backgrounds to highlight the progress being made to fight racism and engage our viewers on initiatives for change. Let us bring on the panelists. First, we have with us Victor Ochin, human rights advocate, founder and executive director of African Youth Initiative Network, the New Now. Next up, we have Tenjue McHarris, co-founder at Blackbird. And finally, we have Masana Mulodzi, programs director at Sonke Gender Justice. Welcome, everyone. It's great to have you all with us today. And without much ado, let's get right into our discussions. So the first question is for Masana. Masana, how has the experience of people of color and minority ethnic backgrounds changed since the beginning of the pandemic? What is driving racial discrimination today in different parts of the world?
Thanks so much, Ria, and it's a pleasure to be here with everyone today. And greetings from South Africa. I think some people may know, but many others not, that today is really the 62nd anniversary of the Sharpeville massacre, where 7,000 Black South Africans were killed for demanding justice and the dignity not to have to carry a passbook in their own country. And when I think of COVID-19 and I think of the continuation of Black capital exploitation, and I think of the hardships that have coincided with COVID-19, the right to dignified work, the right to justice, then it really reminds me that across the world, the challenge of racism is not just in interpersonal relationships, but also within institutions and how these institutions continue to profit off the exploitation of vulnerable groups, vulnerable identities, historically and in the present day. And so the challenge of COVID-19, particularly when we look at race relations, has been that by and large, access to pharmaceutical care in the global South has continued to disproportionately affect Black populations. Black women continue globally to carry the care burden. We continue to see the institutional nature of racism and the rise of nationalism and the far right in Europe, and the ways in which that's really shaped the global political economy to really, I think, foreground the intersecting nature of capitalist exploitation and racism. And so I'm really excited to be here on this panel to reflect even on the work that we've been doing as part of the Pathfinder series on SDG 16 to really elevate that institutional change and socioeconomic justice is necessary to address racism in our day and age. Thank you.
Thank you, Masana. And very important point on how it's not just individuals that perpetuate racism, but racism is embedded in our structures and systems. Victor, on that note, what would you say is driving racial discrimination today? And how has your experience and the experience of people of color changed since the pandemic?
Yeah, thank you so much, Rio. Greetings, and I'm in Kampala, Uganda. I'm also very happy to join the team today as we talk about issues of critical importance. And the question is very simple: how has racism been such a big issue in before, even during, and after the pandemic? I think being a Black person myself, sometimes you struggle with so many things. You feel like maybe your color is alliances to live a life of indignity or something like that. And this is something that always worries us so much, because you feel for sure you're a human being. You're created not to be depressed, not to be defeated, not to feel guilty for who you are, not to be condemned, not to be ashamed, not to be unworthy. And why should a society make you remain in that resistant mood all the time? Because you need to still remind yourself that you're a human being. And I thought we saw it a lot during, of course, when COVID came in, Africa became the continent, the last continent to receive the vaccines. And thank God somehow, Mother Nature still had a better look on us. We didn't have so much in terms of what we saw in Europe and what we saw in America. Thank God it was not so devastating like it did in Africa. Otherwise, we would be in big trouble. But what is most important here is, as a continent, for far too long, we've been subjected to many situations. Whether I go through racial discrimination home and abroad. That's the problem. Whether I'm in the continent or whether I'm outside the continent, I get singled out. I get targeted. I'm always a victim. But at the end of the day, it comes down to what are we doing back home to make sure that we make our home, our continent, our country livable, so that people, a continent like Africa, where nobody has to worry about their color, nobody has to be afraid, to be ashamed about who they are. All we want peace in Africa. We want peace for people of all colors, black, all colors in the world. We want everybody to live a life of dignity. And we want sufferings to stop. Why should we have a community, a society where people are targeted because of their skin color? We want war to be over. We want human kindness. All we want is Africa, like another race, to be treated with love and dignity. We hate the killing we see home and abroad. Whether black or white, everybody should be given opportunity to thrive. But otherwise, legitimizing violence just because somebody is black, it would really take us back, is not what we should be working for. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Victor. Really stirring to hear about your experiences and how it can have an impact on everyday life. And this really requires an indomitable spirit to tackle the issue.